This class, we're going to look at how to recover an unreachable Linux instance inside AWS. Sometimes a Linux instance can become unreachable, right? Most often the reason is that a boot script that does something make the system non-functional, right? Or that someone made a networking change that caused the instance to be inaccessible, right? So a common network setting issue is when someone sets a static IP address, right? Which Amazon EC2 ignores per AWS policy, right? So what we're going to do, we're just going to actually go ahead and create an instance. And we're going to create a problem in a Linux instance by setting a static IP address. Then after that, we are going to fix that issue, okay? Please note, this technique only works for Amazon EBS backed instances because there's no way to temporarily stop an Amazon like S3 instance, for example, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to basically mount the problem server's root file system as an ordinary data drive on a second functional server. So we're going to create a problem on the first server. I'm going to call this like an error server, and the second one is the debug server. Okay, so excuse me. So let's just go ahead and create an instance. Okay, so you can just create an instance. Doesn't really matter. I mean, it's up to you. You can just create. Go ahead with like Ubuntu or Red Hat or anything. So you can just even go with like Amazon Linux AMI because it's just a Red Hat. Okay, let's just go with this one. Okay, it's a free tier. I'll just go with this one and just go with default. No preference for now. I have created, as you remember, I have created so many instances, but I don't need them right now. So I just enable the public IP for this instance. I can add this. 8 gig should be enough. So I'm going to name this the error instance. So at least we can distinguish like what's the problem. So there is, I'm just gonna create one actually. Let's call these SSH security group. This is wide open, but this is just for a test, so I'm just gonna go with the default security group. But please remember that you have to change the settings, and this IP, it has to be a very specific and known IP. Okay, this is wide open, and it's very bad. Like it's a very bad practice. So when you're working for your company, make sure you don't see this at all. Okay, I'm just gonna review this long. Let's see if I have an existing keeper. I don't have a keeper. Just gonna create a new one. Let's call this debug.pem, right? Debug.pem. Just gonna launch the instance. Okay. Just gonna wait for this to start. So this is going to have a public IP and a private IP, right? But I'm going to connect to this machine using the public IP. The public IP address, which is this one. Okay. When you click on connect, you can use this to connect. But before that, if you watched my other videos, you'll see that you need the key pair to connect to the instance. So cd downloads. Actually, let me just change it right now. It has to have the permission 600. Okay. Debug.pem. Here we go. Make sure when you download the book. Here's the key. So I've downloaded the key pair, if you remember. Of course, it's in the around their download folder. So now you can go ahead and connect to this instance. Oops, let's see what's the problem. Oops, sorry, I have to be under download. I wasn't in this right place. Okay, because my debug.pem key was under downloads. Okay, so let's go to cd. So now we are going to change the network settings to use a static IP address. Okay, this is a very common mistake that happens in Amazon EC2. AWS doesn't allow static addresses in the public network. Okay, but while they are permitted in Amazon VPC network, it is still not a good idea to hardwire the operating system, because then the AMI can only be used for that like one address. Okay, so all the changes take place in this file that I'm going to talk about right now. Sysconfig network script. Okay, there are a bunch of files. So we are going to look at this file on my mouse. This file. Okay. So you can use Nano. I'm not sure if Nano is really installed on this one. Nano. Okay. So in the file, you need to make several changes to set a static address. You need to modify the boot proto line. Boot portfolio. So first, I'll just make this none. No boot pro. Okay. Let's just add some other line, like pure DNS. Yes, I'm just gonna add this one. So we're just gonna add static IP here. 0. Okay. Then IP add. Let's just go with I don't know, 192.168.0.100 and gateway equal 192.168.0. Okay. Just Control O. Okay. So now I have set the static IP, but for sure you have to do a reboot. Okay. So you do sudo reboot. You don't need to restart the network because we're rebooting the system anyways. Okay. So we have rebooted the machine just now. So the thing is, this VM, because it's not like vSphere. I'm not sure if you guys have worked with VMware stuff like VMware vSphere. vSphere will give you a console, right? So you don't really need to use SSH to connect to the machine if you have access to the console itself. But for AWS, because there's no console, so it's a bit tricky. Okay, so let's see if I can can see, excuse me, there is no way to connect to this instance. See? Operation timed out. We'll try again. Okay. There is no way to connect to this machine anymore. Okay. And now we are screwed. There's no way to access this instance. There is no console to access this server. So what are we going to do? Okay. I need to just show you guys one more thing here. Okay. So the root device is on dev xvda. I'm just gonna explain this to you, like why this is the case and why we need this. Okay. But for now, let's try again and see if we can connect to this one. Like as you can see, there's no way for us to connect to this machine. So let's just create another instance now. And we're gonna call this debug. Okay. Default, preference, enable. Okay. So you can use the same key pair, should be fine. Storage like 8 gig, that's fine. Name, we're gonna call this the debug instance. I'm just gonna use this group. We have created this one, and there is a key debug. We're just gonna use that one. Okay, let's just wait for this. So after we've created this one, like the following steps, we have to just stop the first server, then mount its root disk drive as a normal data drive on the debug server to get access to the Iran file. Okay. So in the AWS Management Console, we are here. You stop the VM. You do not terminate. Okay. You just stop the server. So here, make a note of the instance ID too here. Oops, let me just copy and paste this one. Okay, so you go ahead and stop this instance. The error instance, okay? Then what you have to do after it's stopped, then you go to the volumes, okay? And find the volumes that are associated with this instance ID, okay? Just might take a while, but we have to make sure. So that's how you will find. So you go to the volumes here, paste the IP. Okay, so this is the volume for we just call this volume for the error instance. Okay, so because this way at least you have an idea of like what we are working on right now. So let me just check the instances and see if that's stopped. Okay, so now this is stopped. Okay, next you go ahead and detach the volume of the error instance. Okay, You just detach it. Then what you have to do, you have to attach the volume to the debug instance. So what we've done, we stopped the error instance, the instance that we had problems with. We detached the volume, we stopped it, and we detached the volume, which is this one. I renamed it just in case, because we just want to make sure that we're working on the right instance. So now this is available, right? So what you have to do, you have to attach the volume to the debug instance. Yeah, that volume to the. I'm not sure if I have to search for the instance. I just find it somewhere. Instances. Okay, so I go to the volume. Okay. Let's just. Okay, so this is the volume for the. Let me just rename this one too. Volume for the debug instance. Yeah. So now this is. So what we're going to do, we're just going to attach this one. In oh, I have to tell you exactly. Sorry, I'm so happy that this happened because it will tell you exactly what's happening right now. Look at the availability zone. This one is in 1D. And this one is in 1B. I'm so happy this error happened actually, guys, because these two have to be in the same AZ. Otherwise, it's not gonna work. If this happened to you before, here's the problem, okay? And make sure this is in the right availability zone. US East 1B. It has to be in 1B, okay? Okay, so let's just go back to the instances. The debug instance. Go back here. I'm not sure if it shows you. Yeah, it shouldn't be in 1D. It should be in 1B. They have to be in the same error. So let me just actually terminate this one and create another one very quickly. These two have to be in the same availability zone. So I have to go and choose US East 1B. So let's just create another one quickly. So it has to be here. Otherwise, it's not gonna work. Okay, like that. Just gonna add this one. CPU, SSH, review, launch. So now this is going to work because they're in the same availability zone right now. Yeah. This one is 1B, debug instance, and B. So basically, if you want to do the rescue or the recovery, you have to create both basic. Excuse me. The error instance, if it's in 1B availability zone, the debug instance, the recovery instance also has to be in the same region or same availability zone. Okay. So it's running. The volume. So we've detached this volume. Okay. So now, and this is the debug volume. So This is the volume for the error instance. So we're going to attach this volume to, see, now I have two instances here. Okay. So what you have to do now, you have to attach the running debug instance as dev SDF, which is giving you the option right now. Okay. Now you'll attach it. Here's the thing, guys. Now you've attached, just make sure that it's completely attached, then we can just go back to the instance and see what the problem was. Just waiting for this to attach it completely. Okay, so now this is attached and it's in use. Okay. Now go to your instance, debug instance, and try to connect to it. So basically, we've detached the volume of the error instance. We stopped the instance. We detached its volume. We attached it to the debug instance. Now we're logging to the debug instance. Okay. So now you have to you have to create a mount point for the bad drive. Okay. For example, you can do cd create a directory, call this for example bad. Okay. Now sudo mount dev SDF. So here's the thing. So XVDA is the one. Now we're just gonna like add this on XVDF. Like who cares? We just go with something. Doesn't matter what. Okay. Dev XVDF. Yeah. I'm just gonna mount it on that. Yeah. XVDF. Let's see, why is it complaining? Wrong FS type back. Or other, okay. Let's just do XVD. Okay. I've just, for some reason I missed the one. So if we do the dash here, now the XVDF is, I didn't notice that I didn't add the first partition here. Okay, so now go to the bad cd bad etc. Oh, sorry, sys config network. Okay, network scripts. Okay, now here's the file. Do you remember we made some changes here? This is the file that you were looking for. So we made some changes here. Now I'm just gonna revert back all the changes and make bootproto DHCP. Okay. So here's basically what we've done. We've just reverting back to the previous state of the instance. Okay. So now let's just do this. You can just restart this network, or you can just do the reboot. Okay. let's just do it. So, so what we've done just now, so we've attached the volume, the root volume of the error instance, and we attached it to the debug instance. So we mount it on the debug instance, and we fixed the file because we made some changes and we wanted to fix it. So now we've fixed the file. Now we have to mount the file. It takes time to connect. It just takes a while. I have to try it a couple of times. Okay. So now what I have to do, we have to do sudo. Let's just go back to the so sudo do mount back. Oh, sorry. Not mounted. Okay. Oh, it's not mounted anyways because you know why? Because we haven't added it to the HCF stat, which we don't care anyways in this case. Normally, when you when you mount a folder, you have to make sure that you also add it to the fstat, because when you reboot, you might lose all your configuration. But in this case, we don't really care so much because we were just going to use it once. Okay? So now, what we need to do, we need to go back to the instance now. In the management console, AWS management console, on the volume page, we are going to the debug server and the debug volume. Okay, this is the debug volume. This is the volume for the error instance. We're going to detach it now because we've attached it to that server. Now we're just going to detach it now. And once this detached, we're going to attach it back to that instance. Okay. Just takes a while. So basically what we're doing right now, we're just reattaching it to its original instance, to this first instance. Okay. And attach it to the error instance. Okay. Actually, sorry, I have to just make it SDA1. Let's see if it's say. Let me just detach it out. Oh, I just made a mistake here. Let me just fix my mistake. So I'm detaching it right now. I'm just going to reattach it again. So once it's done, we have to right click the volume again, or just go to the actions and attach it to the stop instance, but again to the stopped instance because it's original. I'm just gonna add, I just want to see if I can add it here. They have SDA1. Just want to do it on this one. SDA1. Okay. So now, what you have to do, you have to go ahead and start the service. Okay. So let's just pick this one, actions, and start. So you're gonna get oh, it's not attached yet. Okay. Invalid value for instance does not have a volume attached at XVDA1. Okay, so let's attach it to this one because it's complaining that, well, it's not attached to that one. Then let's detach it again and just reattaching it and make sure that we put it on dev XVDA1. Okay, because AWS is suggesting we put it on that device. So device XVDA1. Which makes sense. Okay. So it's available now. So I'm just gonna attach it again to the error instance on XVDA1. Okay, because Amazon recommended this one. Oh, okay. VDA. How about that? You like it? Let's see what it says. So it is attached now. Go to the error instance and start it. So the device that I've used was XVDA. Okay, dev/dev/XVDA. So it's gonna get a new public IP for sure. The DNS name and the public IP will always change when you stop a server, okay? But the private IP will stay the same. This private IP will never change, but the public IP will change. This one. Okay. So now we can reconnect to this error instance. So if you remember, it wasn't working here. If I can find it correctly. The operation timeout. So we kept trying to access it and it didn't work. And let's see what happens now. So we exit the debug server and we're just going to connect to the instance. And as you can see, we're able to connect to the instance. So we made some changes and we recovered this instance using the debug instance. Okay, so now we are able to SSH to the instance. That's it, guys. So if you have any questions, please send me a message or you can add comments and I'll get back to you for sure. Thanks for watching, guys.